Level check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We are 3 minutes away from the First Alert streaming weather show. This is meteorologist Steve Horstmeyer. I'll be with you soon. Hi everyone, meteorologist Steve Horstmeyer. We are 1 minute away from the First Alert weather show at 7:15. Hi everybody, this is meteorologist Steve Horstmeyer in the First Alert Weather Center at Fox 19 now. It is time for the 7:15 streaming weather show. And here we go. The first thing we're going to look at is what is going on in northern Kentucky. This is a flash flood warning, okay, for parts of Campbell County, the southwestern part of Campbell County, west of 27, the southern part of Kenton County, and the northern part of Pendleton County, and it's kind of centered on the community of DeMossville. All right, so basically, if you'll take a look at this, here is the Licking River right here. Here's Plum Creek. Plum Creek got a lot of rain in its watershed. Phillips Creek comes out here, and we had a report on DeCoursey Pike of water flowing over DeCoursey Pike. This was an hour or so, an hour and a half ago now, and that was from the 911 center down there. And then Phillips Creek comes in here. So you've got these creeks, you've got all this, you've got Grassy Creek down by DeMossville, and this is more than 4, close to 5 inches of rainfall that fell in a couple of hours. And so it looks like the communities around Alexander Road, 177, which is DeCoursey Pike, all the way on up here toward Morning View, more than likely have some instances of high water. Okay, now let's take another look at this and zoom in. And what you can see here is we measured this. Now, the algorithm that we have in the weather computer measured a little bit less rainfall. The algorithm from an app we use called Radar Scope, it's a professional meteorologist's app, said that as much as 4.78 inches fell right about where the 8 is there, along 177 in that part of Kentucky. And the latest, okay, now let me change that. I just checked it again. So I checked this just before I came up to the streaming center, and now let's, I'm just going to put it on there. Now it's 5.19 inches, where it's 4.78 is, okay? So basically what we have here, and I'm going to fix that. I'm going to change it very quickly. Give me a second. Basically, we have where it says 4.78 inches. It may have been over 5 inches of rain that fell in that area, and that's why the National Weather Service issued a flash flood warning. So it's centered on DeMossville. So if you're in Morning View, if you're in DeMossville, and DeMossville, let's see, let me change what we have in the monitor back here. Okay. So now, if so, here's Morning View right up here along the Licking River. You go down this way, and DeMossville is right in here. This is Grassy Creek that's coming into the Licking River, and this big bend in the Licking right here, and that is where the heaviest rainfall fell according to the algorithm that we have. So let me go ahead and fix that graphic so it's updated. I had to put it in manually because it's different than what our automated system is showing. And that is now up to, I said, 5.19 inches. All right, so now that is a radar estimated value, okay? And that radar estimated values are pretty good. Essentially, a radar estimated value is close enough in most cases. If you are doing climatological research or whatever, it's not. But if you're just interested in kind of a ballpark figure, there it is, 5.19 inches of rain estimated by radar right there. Now, again, if you're wondering where this is Grassy Creek, for those of you that live down that way. Right in this area is DeMossville. You go up, or actually downriver toward the Ohio River on the Licking River. You go to Morning View. And so Morning View is in that flash flood warning. And then again, if you are in this area and you drive along Route 491, Route 467, Route 17, Route 14, 177, you may encounter high water. And that includes a little portion here of Route 27, one of the main north-south thoroughfares through that part of northern Kentucky. And those of you that live down there or travel through there all the time know much better than I do where the roads have low spots, where the banks are low, and there's a big floodplain. But if you know of an area that's likely to have high water, you're likely to see that high water in this part of northern Kentucky. Again, excuse me, here's the Licking River. So this is the southeastern part of Kenton County. This is the southeastern part, or southwestern part of Campbell County. This line right here is the county line, so this is Pendleton County down here. So anywhere, if you drive along any of these routes and you know spots that typically get high water, that's 491, 467, 17, 14, 177, you may encounter some high water, and a little portion of Route 27 here in this southern part, excuse me, southern part of Campbell County there. So let me see if see if the Weather Service has reported. Okay. Nope, they just sent out a thing a few minutes ago at 7:04 that says the flash flood warning remains in effect till 8:15 this evening for for the places I just showed you. And they don't have any more reports of flooding out that way. Now, there's a good reason for that. This is not a very heavily populated area. And so you've got DeMossville, you've got Morning View, you've got a couple other small communities, and people in rural areas obviously tend to be spread out. And so it may take a while for more reports to come in. But that's what we have right now. So flash flood warning, it's in effect till 8:15. It includes Morning View, DeMossville. It includes routes 467, 491, 17, 14. It includes a number of other roads also. I can give you another map here. The map I'm about to switch to was put together by Brad Mousehart. He was helping me out as I was taking care of the show and feeding me information. So some of the heaviest rain fell in the area around Alexander Road. So these are ones that aren't marked on that other map, that are the smaller roads. So Alexander Road, St. Mary's Road, anything along Phillips Creek on the north side of the Licking River, on the northeast side of the Licking River, and along Plum Creek, Grassy Creek down here in the corner. I guess you can see that Grassy Creek right there. There's DeMossville. So there's been a lot of rain. And this right here, see this bend in 177 like that? That is where the algorithm on the app that we use on our phone says the highest rainfall was, and that was 5.19 inches. And this is where the flood report came in. We don't know the exact location of the water that was pouring over to Coursey Pike, but it was definitely there. Okay. Now, since just before we started this program, we've got another flood. This time it's an advisory in effect. So let's see, what can I do? I'm just going to zoom out here. This may have not so pretty. Oh, it worked out okay. All right, so now we're going to zoom back in here. I've left the lightning on here so I can tell you where the storms are. Okay, so if we go to our northwestern corner, this is Connersville right here. So this is Fayette and Union County. The northwestern corner of Union County, just barely touching Brookville Lake here, north of Roseburg, is under a flood advisory. That Philomath is. Connersville's under the flood advisory. The communities here in the Panhandle. And then, of course, when you head north toward 40, this is out of our viewing area. But Fairview's in it. So if you're in the northern half of Fayette County, Indiana, including Connersville, the northwestern part of Union County does not include Liberty, but it's roughly the area in the northwest of 27. You're under a flood advisory, and then that extends all the way north out of our viewing area. And you can see why. You can see the lightning there, but let me just go ahead and I've got a kind of sweeping radar, and there it is. There you see the rainfall that is moving through there. So again, no severe thunderstorms are in effect, but flooding rains. And what happened, we got the warm moist air. If you remember, if you were watching yesterday, I was showing you that warm moist air coming north out of the Gulf with some showers and thunderstorms. Well, that's moved into the Fox 19 Now viewing area now. And when we get the added energy of the heat of the day, so when the sun heats the ground heats the air, and that peaks in the afternoon, that pushes it just over the threshold to get thunderstorm activity developing along with some heavy rain, and that's what we have. Now, what's going to happen here, this is going to gradually calm down and die out. We're going to be dry most of the overnight, and then it's going to happen again tomorrow. It's going to refire tomorrow at about the same magnitude, and we still don't expect any severe weather tomorrow. Just rain, some of that rain heavy, and some of that rain could cause some flash flooding. So here we are. This is Connersville right here. So here's the northern panhandle of Fayette County. You can see more moving north and eastward, so some heavy torrential rainfall going to fall there. It doesn't look like it's as bad a situation north of Roseburg, south of Philomath. Overall, you still have more rain coming your way, and if I get to the right computer and I zoom out, you can see that there's more on the way. So all this is heading north and eastward with some lightning and thunder. No severe storms, nothing as far as severe weather goes flooding the issue, but all this stuff that's north of Greensburg, north of Decatur County, heading north and eastward. And if we just project the southern edge of it along, right here, you can see it should get really close, but just a little north of Liberty. So anything north of Liberty, anywhere in the northern 2/3 of Fayette County, Indiana, you're likely to get a little bit of flooding out of this and some torrential rainfall. Lots of impressive lightning and thunder, but nothing that makes us think there's anything severe in there whatsoever. Okay, so let's, since I'm not really following a script here, let's take a look at this in a little bit more detail here. All right, so there we go. Now I'm going to start animating, and that's not exactly what I wanted to do. We'll just go. We'll just keep talking about the stuff going on down around the flash flood warning that's centered on DeMossville. Okay, so this is, as I told you, the algorithm that's in our weather computer system is a little bit more conservative, and it's saying inside of this green area, 4.4 inches of rainfall. So that's northern Pendleton County, southeastern parts of Kenton County, southwestern parts of Campbell County, again, centered around DeMossville. You've got maybe 4.4 inches of rain. Now, no other reported flooding from that other than high water rushing over DeCourcy Pike at one point, and that was DeCourcy Pike between Morningview and DeMossville. Okay, and there's no flooding reported with this, but there's been almost 3 inches of rain here just to the west of Foster, Kentucky. All right, so Piner's not in that warning. Butler's not in the warning. They got the heavy rain, but the warning doesn't quite make it to Butler. So be aware. If you're in this area, you know the low spots in the roads, the creek crossings, all that stuff where you're typically going to get some high water. You know them better than I do, and if you have to travel through an area where high water happens when you get heavy rain, just be very careful, be aware, and turn around, don't drown. Okay, so that is what it looks like at this point. And again, where the accumulation on our weather computer algorithm says 4.4 inches, a higher resolution algorithm from our our radar scope app says 5.19 inches, and so that is certainly enough for some flooding down that way. Let me take a look and see if there's any more information. That flood advisory for Fayette and Union County is in effect till 10:15 p.m. We have no other reports of flash flooding up that way. Let's see, in either area. So just be aware that there are a lot of hills down this way, but there's also a lot of floodplain flat land on the creeks, where the creeks meet the river, the Licking River, and all that, and there are spots where roads cross creeks, and they could have some high water also. So be aware of that, and we'll have more on that if anything pops up. I'm continuing to monitor it as we go. Let's see. Let me check one more time, and then we'll continue. But basically, the Weather Service only has that one report of flooding, but certainly in a rural area where there are not a lot of people, there are probably more instances of that. And I can just, for the heck of it right now, take a look at. I turned on local storm reports, and you see that there's nothing pops up. Usually, there's icons we have, and so there are no other reports, local storm reports at the present time. Okay. You're not done with it in the flash flood warning area, okay? Right in here, again, here's Piner, here's the Licking River, DeMossville right in here. So this is where the warning is, where my hand is, and there's more rain on the way. Look at this. This heavy cell right here, you project that along, watch. This one is heading right for it. So you're not done with the rain yet. As a matter of fact, you're going to get some more. You may even get another inch out of this before it's all over. And even though the activity is settling down as the day begins to cool and we lose the heating of the day, you've got a lot of rain down here, and it takes a while for that to settle down. And so most of this, okay, here, the flash flood warning area is right here. So most of this, you see, is going to stay west of it, and it's this stuff that we're worried about. So I think in another hour, you'll see the rain come to an end in that flash flood warning area that's centered around DeMossville. And things will begin to settle down, and they may get some more reports of flooding from down that way. But if you've never been through there along the Licking River, take 177 along the Licking River, there are hills. There's a lot of flat land along the streams, the floodplain as we call it, but there aren't a huge number of people. It's not like this same thing happened in the middle of Cincinnati where there's thousands of people. There's quite a few people that live down here. But it's not as densely populated as the city, so sometimes it takes a little longer for people to see what's happened down there, or maybe they're just being safe, staying inside and waiting until it's all over before they report anything. And so again, it looks like this will be through in about an hour, and things will begin to settle down, and we're going to go through this again, not necessarily in the same exact spot, but we are going to go through it again tomorrow as thunderstorms pop up. And again, you can see it right there. Let me, so on this wider view, let me turn on, right there, the flash flood warning, and let's see. I don't think it's showing right now. Okay, but you know where the flash flood warning is. I can draw it on there, I guess. So right in here is the area we have the flash flood warning. Drawn in blue. This mouse is kind of sticky. So right in that area is where the heaviest rain is. And if you look at what's coming in from the south, there's just not much else there. So within an hour, I think you are done with the rainfall. And as we zoom out, you can see that it's pretty widespread. Not everybody got rain. Not everybody got heavy rain, but some spots got blasted, like down there around DeMossville. Temperatures right now, look at Falmouth. 63 degrees where they've had some heavy rainfall, 68 at CVG, and everybody's come down a little bit, but there was a little while ago we had 64 degrees and 70, well, we do. Maysville hasn't gotten any rain yet. They're at 75. Just to the west in Falmouth, it's down to 63 because of that rain-cooled air. All right, so here's what's going to happen based on the model. Now, this starts at 6 p.m., so it's a little while ago. We put this into motion, and you can see that the model is saying, yeah, the rainfall does kind of take a break overnight. There still will be a few showers in the air, but nothing really widespread and heavy at 6 a.m. Friday. and then watch what happens as we head through the day and Friday. Here comes more rain, more thunderstorm activity. It builds up during the heat of the day, and then it kind of rains itself out. We have a few scattered showers left until 10 p.m. there on Friday. By the time we get to 1:30 a.m. Saturday, just 1 or 2 showers in the entire viewing area, and then it's dry as we head on into Saturday morning, and your weekend looks dry at this point. Okay, overnight, we're looking at, or this evening, we're looking at temperatures dropping by 11 o'clock to 65 degrees. It's 68 right now. That 75 was based on not having any rain. So just think in terms of upper 60s all the way up through 9 o'clock and dropping off to 65 by 11 o'clock. I haven't had time to update the detailed forecast yet, but that's what happens. When you end up with rain-cooled air, we had a lot of rain at CVG. That dropped the temperature to 68. We forecast 75 based on no rain making it to CVG. And now that it has rain, just think in terms of upper 60s all the way here until we get to 65 at 11 o'clock. So not much temperature change for the remainder of the evening. Okay, overnight, we're looking at temperatures dropping off into the upper 50s and lower 60s around the tri-state. Climate Prediction Center says temperatures near or a little bit above normal through the 4th of May. Through the 8th of May, a little bit above normal. And then this is the one that will be updated tomorrow, above normal through the 20th. Rainfall, a little bit above normal through the 4th of May, a little bit below normal through the 8th of May, and back to a little bit above normal through the 20th, and that's the graphic that will also be updated. But if we go back to this one, what this is, geez, come on, Steve. There we go. Okay. When we go back to this one, all this area of dry air tells you that we're being dominated by airflow out of Canada, okay? Now, that airflow out of Canada could bring some frost, and there are indications. No guarantee yet. I'm not forecasting it. That 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th, we'll have to look at that time frame. A couple of those mornings could be cold enough for some pockets of frost in some areas. And that's why we continue to tell you, even though this nice warm weather makes you want to plant those plants, those tender plants, you got to wait on them until we're sure that we're clear of frost, and we're not at this point. Okay, and here is the graphic that I used to demonstrate what we were thinking about the possibility of severe weather. And if you remember, what I mentioned was that even this is before the Storm Prediction Center got in on it, but looking at all the models, we saw that storm system, what's left of it is here, drop out of the Gulf of Alaska, down into Canada, and then California, on into the U.S., now lifting out following this dark blue arrow. And that's going to work in conjunction with the jet stream, the subtropical jet stream, and bring the chance of severe weather. And I mentioned that, hey, we can't predict exactly what's going to happen. We can't predict the timing, but we look at the weather systems and we can see that the chance of severe weather somewhere east of the Mississippi River, in our latitude, maybe as far west as eastern Texas, so that chance of severe weather the last couple days of the month of April, maybe the first couple days of the month of May, and that's not each and every one of those days, but in that time frame. And it looks like the National Weather Service's Storm Prediction Center is becoming more involved with this and coming to our way of thinking. So if we go ahead and take a look at what they've put out now, this is from 8 a.m. the 29th to 8 a.m. the 30th. They now have about half of the Fox 19 Now viewing area under a slight or level 2 out of 5 risk of severe storms for that period of time, okay? So the last 2 days of the month. And again, we often like to reference things based on landmarks that people are familiar with. And this is approximately along 71, although we know that 71 kind of curves further north here and does that. But overall, this is essentially the half of our viewing area that is from I-71 northwestward. At this point in time, the Storm Prediction Center is thinking has the chance of some severe weather. And that severe weather's main threat would be hail and some gusty winds. And of course, when we've learned this over the years, whenever you have strong thunderstorms roll through the tri-state with the proper wind conditions in the environment in which they're moving, you can have some small, short duration spin-up tornadoes. And that is definitely a possibility with this. But again, that's not a forecast. We're just going to have to watch it. It could be that the severe weather's up around Chicago. It could be further south around Memphis. But there is going to be that chance that a part of our viewing area will end up with the chance of some strong to severe thunderstorms. Okay. Man, I'm talked out almost. Okay, let's go to the 7-day forecast. Okay, our 7-day forecast, overnight 59, 77 tomorrow, rain and storms likely once again. There'll be a few around early in the day, but they're going to fire up in the afternoon and early evening. 57 and 67 for Saturday. Saturday, FC Cincinnati plays. Looks like the rainfall is out of here before sunrise, as we've been saying for a while, and it looks like gradual clearing. High thin clouds on Sunday, 65 the high. A few storms on Monday. Monday, the Reds are back in town. They also play Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. You can see our temperatures peak at 81 and then drop off to 71 and 69 for highs. And again, this is the air, this 81 is the air ahead of the storm. In other words, when the storm moves in, winds come out of the south and warm it up. You're also going to feel a little bit humid. It's going to feel a little bit like summer. And then as the storm pushes off to the east, temperatures cool off once again. And so, and two things we've been talking about is A, the chance of severe weather, and B, behind the storm, the chance of some frosty mornings. So let's go ahead and take a look at the beyond the 7-day forecast. And again, the second and third, I think it comes in earlier. I don't think the second and third are going to be, the second maybe, but I still think it's going to be the last 2 days of the month with the chance of some lingering stuff. However, take a look at the temperatures that I have in the forecast here, all right? The trend is for the temperatures to cool off. So we may have 3 mornings, Sunday the 4th, which is exactly 1 week before Mother's Day, Monday the 5th, and Tuesday the 6th, all have the potential for frost. Now, I want to make sure you understand the difference between a forecast for the next 5 or 6 days and the forecast that is 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 days in the future. And these are much more likely to have to be updated and tweaked. And so what we're looking at here is we're looking at all the indications are, and some of the models have actual temperatures around 8 a.m. down to this level in Cincinnati. If it makes it to 38 in Cincinnati, some of the rural valleys will be cold enough for frost. But again, this is a heads-up kind of forecast. I'm not going to bet on this. I am not going to stake my life on this or my career on this. I'm saying that all the indications are that we'll have some areas in the upper 30s for this 3-morning stretch. And if it's a little colder than the models are saying, we could see a little bit of frost. We call that the May surprise frost. It's never a surprise because we expect it all the time. But that's why we always say don't plant those tender plants until Mother's Day. It's not a rule we made up. It's not even a rule. But it's a saying, and farmers, it's a 2 thumbs up kind of thing. Thumbs up, the rule of thumb, don't plant your tender plants until after Mother's Day. And Mother's Day is the 11th, so it's 9th, 10th, the 11th, 3 days after that. So that's what we're looking at. And again, if we take a look at all 14 days on one graphic, they're the highs, they're the lows. You can see that we've got a couple days in there in the 30s, although there's one day I've got in the 30s that's not on there. Somehow we got our numbers mixed up, but I was doing this just as the flash flood warning and that started coming out, so things kind of got kind of confusing and rushed for a while. But remember, a couple days when we may have a little bit of frost, so I know you want to do it. You've got those tender plants. You may have started tomatoes on your windowsill, or if you have a little hothouse, you might have started them there. You want to get them out there and get them planted to start watching those tomatoes grow and enjoy. Nothing like a great juicy tomato on a hamburger in the middle of summer. But please wait, because tomatoes especially are very vulnerable to frost, and there are indications, not forecasting it yet, but there are indications that we've got a few days that we could see some frosty patches develop. Okay, let me go to see what people are saying on Facebook. Lindy Seeker says, watched you in Cincinnati. Lisa Crum Hollins says, hi. Hello, Lisa. Hope you're doing well. Betty Plyman wants to know how I'm doing. Hey, I'm doing fine. And again, you've probably heard me say this 20 times already. But my dad used to say when somebody asked him when he was in his 70s, how are you doing, Jim? And he'd say, I got up this morning, I looked at the newspaper, I wasn't in the obituary, so I'm doing fine. So And I blame that on my dad. All right, so Geraldine Keith Anderson, hello from Owenton. Hey, Geraldine. I used to have, this is probably 25 years ago, I had a bunch of friends. They lived in Poplar Grove, right there in 127 in northern Owen County. And it was the Yancey family, and I used to go deer hunting down there all the time. So love Owen County. It's a beautiful county in the fall with the hills and all that. So hello to Owenton. Just want to let you know that I think it's a great county to live in, just beautiful place. Sandy Berry said, we just got a sprinkle. I'll review radar here in a second. And Sandy Berry's in Adams County. And yeah, so Sandy, I just showed you the temperature in Maysville is 75. So once that rain comes, and what happens when the rain comes, the rain falls, as the rain falls, a lot of it, even when it's really humid out, a lot of it will evaporate. And to evaporate a water drop requires that some heat be taken out of the air. And so that's why the air cools off so much when rain falls. And you know, that refreshing feel in the summer when that happens. And Maysville was still at 75, and it was 63 over in Falmouth, just a little bit to the west. So that's it. Let's see. Jennifer Claiborne says lightning in southern Campbell County. Thank you, Jennifer. And then, of course, southern Campbell County is where that flood warning is. It's southeastern parts of Kenton, southwestern parts, Campbell, and the northern part of Pendleton County under that flash flood warning. I'll review that before we shut down for the day. Susan Wally says it's getting darker in Blanchester. Tina Nepple from Nashville, Tennessee. It's a K-N-E, so it could be Kneppel or Nepple. So Steve Rogers says it's nice where he is. The grass loves the rain. Yeah, I tell you what, it really does. David Linville, we had some heavy rain about 3:30. And Susan Wallace says, go get a big drink of Diet Mountain Dew. Don't have to go anywhere. It's right here. So, excuse me. Okay, let's go back to radar, and I'll kind of review what's going on with the radar. First thing I want to do is quickly go back over to the flash flood warning. A flash flooding is a life-threatening situation. Okay, so when you talk about what we do here in the weather office, severe thunderstorm warnings, of course, tornado warnings, flash flood warnings, and like a blizzard warning. They're life-threatening situations. If you get caught out in a blizzard, if you're in the wrong spot during flash flooding, the water comes up fast. So those are the ones we take the most seriously. And so a flash flood warning ranks up with a severe thunderstorm warning when big ones are coming through. So let's go back. Okay, first of all, here is where the flash flood warning is in effect. Weather Service just said it's going to stay in effect until 8:15. They may even extend it with the rain that's coming that way. Okay, it'll take a second or two for it to come up here. All right, I'll give it to you full screen now. And so that that flash flood warning includes parts of Campbell County. That's the southwestern part of Campbell County, west of 27. Kenton County, the southeastern part of Kenton County. Generally around the DeMossville area, so from Morning View along the Licking River and south to the Pendleton County line, and then in the northern part of Pendleton County, basically west of Butler. Butler is not included in that, but in Campbell County, but in Pendleton County, there are a number of spots that are included. So let's zoom in. And you see that, I don't know why the 4.78 came back. I must have saved it. The last time we looked at that 4.78 radar estimated rainfall had come up to 5.19, and let's see. And now it is up to, okay, so now the new total right here, according to this higher resolution radar estimate, is 5.28 inches. I mean, that's a lot of rainfall. And that means there'll be some flooding out that way. Luckily, it's a rural area where there aren't a lot of really big communities that would be affected adversely, and a lot of the land down that way is floodplain land that they just use for farming and don't build on for obvious reasons. But so it's up to let me see if that's the highest. Yes, 5.28 inches is the highest total. And that total is not far, just near DeMossville. So DeMossville is right in here. And so this right in here along 177 is where the heaviest rain has fallen. And so even if you're not near the Licking River, any of those creeks draining into the Licking River could also have some high water. So be aware of those also. If we zoom out, our other model says 4.4 inches. So it's a little bit less. It's still a lot of flooding rainfall. It's a little bit less than we had earlier on the other on the radar scope algorithm, but still that's a lot of rainfall. Okay, then south of Aspen Grove down to Butler, and the rainfall continues to move to the north. Notice the heaviest stuff again. Right in here is where the flood warning is. And you can see that the rainfall down here is coming to an end. So the southern edge of it's about down to Northcutt and heading north and eastward. And I think within the hour, you'll be dry and you'll be able to get a better idea of what's going on down there. And there you see the rainfall moving north and eastward a little bit better and dying out as it does. It's beginning to die out because the heat of the day is already gone. Okay, so let's see what we've got here. And if we look at a wider view here, all this stuff is beginning to weaken. You're seeing less and less lightning around the tri-state. So as that stuff weakens and comes to an end, we've got a lot of moisture left. It's going to be a humid day tomorrow. And what we're going to see is we are going to see the thunderstorms redevelop during the afternoon and evening. Now notice it's 73 now in Maysville. They must have gotten a little bit of rainfall. Still 72 in Wilmington, but it's 63 in Falmouth where they've gotten some heavy rainfall. So the model says this. It says it's pushing off to the north and east. It's dying out as it does. We may have a few spotty showers in parts of the tri-state overnight, but for the most part it's done. And then it refires as we head through the day on Friday. And by Saturday morning, it is gone, and we've got a pretty nice weekend ahead with no rainfall in the forecast. So this evening, temperatures will stay in the upper 60s. Just ignore the 72 there. Since we got rainfall at the International Airport where that temperature was measured, temperatures have dropped down. So upper 60s the rest of the evening. Overnight, dropping into the low 60s and upper 50s. And then let's go to, let's see, I can get there this way. Let's go to the 7-day forecast. You can see the lows tonight, 59, 77 tomorrow, 57 and 67 on Saturday. It'll be dry for FC Cincinnati's match. So gradual clearing Saturday, lots of sun, nice weather on Sunday. And then scattered showers and thunderstorms Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. The Reds begin home games once again on Monday, and they continue through each of those days. So it might be a busy day for us. We're the official weather provider for the Reds, so it may end up being a bit of a problem. When we go to beyond the 7-day forecast, again, I should remove that watching for storms in those 2 days because it looks like the watching for storms part of this is going to be mainly the last 2 days of April. And then notice in behind the system that could bring the storms, chillier air from Canada could drop spots. We're not talking about a widespread killing frost, but we're talking about pockets of frost that could be heavy enough to damage tender plants. That could be Sunday the 4th, Monday the 5th, and maybe even Tuesday the 6th, depending on exactly when it gets here and how strong it is. All right, and the last thing we're going to look at here is all 14 highs and lows, so all 28 temperatures put together. And you can see that we have that dip in temperatures. Only 2 of the days on this graph show the 30s. I'm not sure why. I must have messed something up. But overall, we're going to stay not far from normal and show a little bit of a warming trend as we head into the end of those days. So that is it for now. Thank you for joining me. I'll be back tomorrow. We are in what the TV industry calls the ratings period. And so I typically have Fridays off, but for the rest of this month and most of May, I'll be here on Friday. So I'll be here at Friday, 7:15. Thank you for joining me. Have yourself a nice night.